Rewatching this episode centering around Lapis being in Steven's dream, it gave me second thoughts when it came to Lapis's absence, but at the same time, it kind of indicates that her development is really taking a turn when it comes to the season 3 episodes of Steven Universe, and I do not mean that as a bad thing. After spending hours of finding Lapis who is fused with Jasper, Steven came to the solution by having a slumber party, but at the same time, the crystal gems don't sleep. The episode itself is mainly a dreams episode centering around Steven's dream of Lapis still being in the fusion with Jasper, along with other dreams that happen before the final minutes of the episode that centers around Steven witnessing Lapis's situation. There really isn't much to say about this episode in particular aside from Lapis's predicament. But if you ask me, with this type of episode being displayed as what Steven's dreams are like in comparison to the other humans who are not part gem, I understand that these dreams are basically what a person at Steven's age would have, but as far as I'm concerned, expressing those types of dreams towards characters like Amethyst, Pearl, and Garnet, they probably wanted to make these sequences involving Paul doing a show or something, or mainly doing the projector, something that's facing to the ceiling that Amethyst and Steven are watching, that wants to make a joke out of it, and literally want to showcase of how Paul is really obsessive with Rose. But in the last video that I've talked about, it's literally no surprise that Paul is really obsessive towards Rose, but I'm starting to convince that people may find this funny, but for me personally, it wasn't. But I'm not gonna lie, when it comes to these dream sequences, when it comes to the black and white sitcom that Steven has with the crystal gems, along with what ends up happening once he opens the door that I've showed you way earlier in this video, it's clever, especially the next dream sequence that centers around Steven Fly, which does foreshadows the Kiki's Pizza Delivery Service episode. But the final minutes of this episode really makes up for everything else, because to tell you the truth, just witnessing Lapis just trying to stop Jasper while being in the fusion in a scenario where when she is deep underwater, it kind of shows onto why she is absent in order to make the trauma that she's dealing with really severe. Granted, it would have been nice to have one episode centering around her predicament with Jasper, but with it happening off screen, it kind of showcases her development in season 3 and onwards. And since that Jasper is trapped underwater thanks to Lapis, who prevented her from causing any havoc in the finale of season 1, it actually shows that Jasper is in the same character development predicament as Lapis. And what I mean when it comes to character development predicament is the fact that the writers really want to make sure that they're saving these characters for the later seasons. And even though that the Beach City episodes make it in the way, I have to admit that I actually found Jasper really intimidating in this episode, and yet at the same time she is still trapped underwater with Lapis while being in the fusion. When Lapis's one and only goal is to be in the fusion with Jasper when it comes to becoming Malachite underwater, she has no other option, and to tell you the truth, it is disappointing that we never get to see what this season would have been like if she was free from Jasper. But the more I think about it, it really feels like that the only alternative that she will have is mainly wreaking havoc, since that the relationship that she has with Jasper is toxic. But as far as I'm concerned, there's no escape when it comes to what ends up happening in the first episode of season 3, since the crystal gems managed to stop Malachite in order to rescue Lapis. Let me just say this right now, I would probably be in the same position as the crystal gems by stopping Malachite in the first episode of season 3 while rescuing Lapis. And as far as I'm concerned, what ends up happening when it comes to Lapis's character, you can't be able to change everything knowing full well that that character is still that character that you won't be able to forgive easily, and we all know what I'm referring to. This episode is entertaining when it comes to the dream sequences, but the final minutes centering around Lapis and Jasper along with the fusion of Malachite is really good. I mean, my first binge watch, I was honestly expecting Lapis more, but this rewatch gave me a better perspective on that, and I am looking forward to talk about the last Lapis episodes in the later seasons. I'm giving this episode a 7.75 out of 10.